Good morning, everyone, and I want to welcome you this morning, and I'd love to introduce you to our massage therapist, Tara Sharp. Tara and I met, I guess, several years ago when she worked with me in the clinic in 2003 for a while until she had her children, and then Tara worked from home for a while, and then in the last couple of years we've reconnected, and she's back with Family Chiropractic and Wellness, and we're very happy to have her taking care of your massage therapy needs at the office. But I know many of you have not met Tara, so I thought this was an opportunity for you to see her. But also, I'm going to ask Tara to speak a little bit about the benefits of massage for those of you who have not been to a massage therapist, and then also to give us a few tips for things that we can maybe do at home to help some of our tight muscles and constraints. So, Tara, I'm going to turn it over to you and just let you go ahead.
Good morning, and thank you to Catherine for inviting me to do this. To those of you who I have seen at the clinic, hello. To those of you who I've yet to meet, I look forward to meeting you in person. So just a little bit, I've been a massage therapist since 2003. I'm certainly a very big advocate for wellness, and I strongly encourage prevention, which is one of the incredible things about massage therapy, is that you can use it as a form of prevention for so many different areas of your life. If you choose to incorporate massage therapy as a part of your healthcare program, it certainly helps to increase circulation, it improves digestion, it certainly works to alleviate those aches and pains associated with posture-related issues. It can certainly improve your posture and help you maintain proper alignment. Certainly most people know massage therapy as a way to release muscle tension, improving your flexibility, especially if you're particularly active and you find yourself getting those regular muscle aches and pains after doing some increased amount of activity. It also works to help decrease those life and work-related tensions that happen from our workplace postures and ergonomics. And we also use massage therapy to decrease some of those degenerative changes that start to happen over time as they relate to posture. So certainly under normal circumstances, clients would manage their stresses and their muscle tension with regular massage therapy appointments. But as we navigate this new normal, it's become harder to have those in-person treatments. And while we wait for that opportunity to meet in person and get clients working towards some of those massage therapy benefits, I thought perhaps we would chat a little about some home strategies that you could use to ease some of those muscle tensions and discomforts. So I guess first off, anything that you do at home to help yourself is, using what you already have at home. Certainly we're not encouraged to be going out right now a whole lot. So it might be about using some of those resources that you have and going and finding some of those things. I guess, first of all, one of the things that I would include as a self-care strategy from a massage therapist standpoint is hydration. Our muscles really like to be well hydrated. So as you're at home, trying to find a way that you can increase your water intake in a day and finding ways to remind yourself to do that in amongst your work schedule, in amongst your childcare, all of those things. So whether it's setting a timer, whether it's using some of these great apps that are out there for encouraging you to drink water on a more regular basis, but increasing your hydration can be key to helping those muscles. One of the other things I thought people could look at in terms of a self-care strategy at home is what are they doing with their laptops? You know, we've brought these things home perhaps from our normal work scenarios, and now we're having meetings. We are doing whatever, you know, keyboard work that you're looking at doing. And perhaps, you know, you're catching up on Netflix or something like that on your iPad as well. But focusing on where you're putting your laptop or your iPads or your phones, how are you using those, and for how many hours are you staying in a fixed position, perhaps? So certainly there's a few websites out there that would give you the approximate distances and things like that for where your laptop should be. But I like to make it a little bit more simple for people and basically say that sitting in a well-supported chair and at a table, a harder surface where you can perhaps elevate your laptop so that it is at an appropriate level for your eyes. So ideally, you know, you're sitting in a chair with a well-supported back, a hard seat or a cushion of some sort, with your feet flat on the floor as opposed to tucked underneath your bum, or some of those other more positions, those crisscross applesauce positions that people like to do on chairs isn't always ideal, especially if you're going to be sitting there for a while. And then with your laptop, having someone have a look at you if they can to make sure that you've raised your laptop a little bit so that your screen is at eye height, so that you have that better vision without having to tilt your head in any one fixed position for too long. If you're not able to or don't have access to a separate keyboard and mouse, and you're just using the one that's provided on your laptop, you might want to consider taking a few more breaks than you normally would. That tends to put you in a bit of a position where, you know, your elbows are out at one side and your arms and your wrists and such are not in the best position. So if you have access to a separate keyboard and mouse, putting those on the hard top of your desk or your table, that will sort of set you up for a decreased opportunity to develop those sore arms and neck and shoulders. So after you've spent a good bit of time on your laptop or your iDevice at some point in the day, you might want to think about getting up, stretching, moving around a little bit. That's not new information, but certainly something that you might want to consider when you're, you know, not being interrupted with meetings or having to move about your day in a regular office setting. So how would you do that from home? Other things to consider in terms of releasing some of that muscle tension that may accumulate through the day because of the various things that you're doing. You might want to consider heat to decrease some of that muscle tension. And, you know, certainly people like heat. It's relaxing. Usually for most, it brings a sense of calm. So if you have at home a handy dandy rice bag that you can stick in a microwave and heat it up, that's wonderful in terms of being able to manage the heat. If you don't have one of those, but you do have a heating pad, that works as well. And if you have neither of those, one of the other items that you could do is get yourself a hand towel, soak it in some water, and then you basically wring out the majority of the water, stick it in the microwave, heat it up, and then wrap it in another towel. With any of these items in terms of heat, you don't want to ever put them directly on your skin. So having another barrier between your skin and your heat pack is going to be best so that you don't scald yourself at all. So applying heat, when you're applying it, you really don't need it there for a super amount of time. Certainly anywhere from 7 to 10 minutes for most people works really well. And usually by then, some of these rice bag packs have started to cool down a little bit. Applying heat before you try and release any muscle tension also works really well to increase the circulation to that area. And it allows us to make the muscles a little bit more pliable before you start trying to treat them in some way at home. So let's get to the how can we release some of that muscle tension. I like to recommend to people finding themselves a tennis ball or something similar. This size usually works really well. Golf balls, they're a little bit pokier, a little bit more specific, and can cause a little bit more discomfort. So a tennis ball, a road hockey ball, they even make some massage therapy balls that you can buy off sites such as Amazon. But if you have a tennis ball or a few tennis balls, then it makes it easier. The other item would be a trouser sock or a regular sock, whatever you've got. But trouser socks, something like that, that's a little bit thinner, a little stretchier, works really well. What I like to do with the tennis balls, to sort of keep them in place while I'm using them, is to put them inside the trouser sock so they don't roll away. So I have a little bit more control over how I'm using them. So let's start with one tennis ball. If you're looking at relieving discomfort through the front part of your chest, you've been hunched over looking down at your computer all day, the front side of your chest is sore, this upper part of your neck and shoulders is sore, certainly using one tennis ball can be quite helpful, either by yourself or with a family member that might be able to help you out. When you're using the tennis ball, it doesn't take much pressure at all to be able to move the tennis ball over top of any of those sore muscles. You don't want to go directly over top of the bony joints because that's just not going to feel good. And certainly pushing with whatever force you have into those muscle aches and pains will help to relieve the tension. Sometimes you don't even need to move it at all. Simply just holding it there will also be beneficial in terms of allowing that muscle to relax a little bit. If you want to add a second ball to your trouser sock, the nice thing about this is you can position them however far apart you would like, depending on the area of the body that you want to look at treating. When it comes to neck and shoulders, certainly positioning it on your upper shoulder, and then either yourself or with someone else helping you, you can then roll the balls over top of these muscle areas. Certainly the nice thing about using a tennis ball, if someone's helping you out, is that their fingers aren't going to get tired, their hands aren't going to get tired. All they're going to be doing is applying a little bit of pressure to the tennis ball, which doesn't really fatigue anybody so much. Certainly that's a common thing that people say to me, oh, my partner, they're not very good at giving me a treatment because their hands get so tired. So this is a way that we can avoid that hand fatigue for those helping you and allow you to do it on your own if you like. Again, with the two balls inside the trouser sock, you can apply these to your upper neck and just underneath your head. And then you can just lie on the floor and allow gravity pushing down on you and the balls pushing up to help relieve some of those upper neck muscles and the ones that are at the back of the head. If you feel like it's your upper back that's sore, you can spread those balls inside your sock a little bit further apart so that it's on either side of your spine. You place those on your upper back and then lie on the floor or even up against a wall. So if you find that lying on the floor is too much pressure and too tender for you, then certainly putting these behind you, leaning up against a wall, and then moving up and down across the wall will allow you to monitor the pressure better, okay? So these can be used in so many different areas of the body. I've just described the upper neck and shoulders, mostly because that's areas where most people complain of their tension. Certainly, if you had a lovely family member helping out, these could be used to be rolled up and down either side of your full length of your back, on either side of the spine, and even into the glute muscles or the hip muscles. Again, you're only going to apply pressure until you feel that it's helping to relieve the muscles. If you find that it's too painful or a little too tender, then you just back off a little bit. And certainly there's no specific amount of time that I would suggest that you do it for. It really depends on you and how you feel, if you feel like it's helping to relieve the muscles. And certainly you need to be patient. It's not going to resolve in one try, but certainly adapting this maybe as a part of your daily routine may help sustain you until we can meet in person. One other last item that people might want to consider in terms of finding some comfort for those tense muscles would be some of those topical ointments or creams that have some, they make your skin tingle. Some have a great scent, some not such a great scent, but they help with some of that superficial muscle discomfort. And perhaps that would help you to get some relief if you find that in the evenings, later at night, you've got some of that muscle tension happening and you're having trouble falling to sleep. I would say that's when most clients choose to use some of these ointments. So in the meantime, while we're waiting to meet and get together and have a treatment, I would suggest that some of these things might bring you some comfort and improve your self-care. And yeah, I think that's all I've got for today.
That's excellent, Tara. Especially at this time when so many people are working from home. That's great that you shared the tips about having, good ergonomics for our desks. I have found that some people are working off their coffee tables, so that's obviously too low and too forward, bent forward too far. Also great tips on the heat, the tennis balls, and the cream. All good tips that people can be using at home for sure.